We're having to catch you on that story to take you live to the forecourt of the National Peace Council headquarters for the latest on the International Peace Day commemoration.
30 climate plans. No new coal plants after 2021. Phasing out fossil fuels and supporting developing countries in their transition to green economies. Dear students, as we envisage our world after the pandemic, we cannot go back to what it was. With your help, we can recover better and stronger. We can transform economies, and we can plant the seeds for peace and progress in our human family. Unquote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Chairman, all of you here today, let me first acknowledge and continue to applaud the hard work that is done every single day, sometimes unseen, to keep the peace in Ghana. I've often said Ghana is such a peaceful place, but please don't take this peace for granted. There are many countries in the region who know the consequence of taking this for granted. So more grease to your elbows. May your ambitious plans for a sustainable peace council that continues to be a beacon of light in the sub-region and a model that others are trying to encompass may continue to grow under your leadership and under your guidance, and may Ghana remain very, very peaceful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalsabani. Ghana is a peaceful country. Let's not take the peacefulness for granted. Let's invite Mr. Diallo Abdulman to give us a goodwill message. Thank you.
Thank you, dear moderator, please, moderator. Distinguished participants, dear Chairman, dear members of the board, dear members of the council, dear media friends. Actually, when my colleague shared with me the program this morning, I say, well, in such event, when my boss speak on behalf of the U and everything is said, I think he has covered all the issues. So I don't have really anything to add. He mentioned that we will come organize and align with all our difference and variety in the UN. To contribute to bring our part to the edifice of peace here in Ghana. So I just want to commend you, to thank you for your leadership and for giving us this opportunity to share with you. Only, I would say, the contribution I would like to add, which is very important, our Mr. Chalabani reminded it, peace is never, we should not take it for granted that we achieve, that we reach. We have to be vigilant. And in 1981, in Yamoussoukro, in Côte d'Ivoire, the first president of the early independent Côte d'Ivoire, Houphouët-Boigny, used to say that peace is not a word. You cannot achieve the rich peace. He said peace is a behavior. Peace is a behavior. So we as UNESCO, as part of the United Nations family, bringing our share, our diversity, and working on the abstract of our constitution, which says, I quote, since wars raise in the minds of men and women, this is in the minds of men and women that we should all build the defense of peace, and that it's through education, through culture, through sciences. So this is how we will do our best to contribute to work tirelessly, I would say, with all of you, each entities, to contribute to peace here in Ghana, in Africa, and the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We take a message from our rep from the National House of Chiefs, Nana Dr. S.K.G. Asante.
The chairman of the governing board of the National Peace Council and distinguished members of the council, eminent members, the coordinating director of the United Nations, representative of UNESCO, Ananum, and eminent traditional and religious leaders who have gathered here, members of the press, distinguished members, and ladies and gentlemen. I have been called upon to deliver a goodwill message. The message of chiefs and traditional rulers everywhere is that we are deeply committed to peace. We are agents of peace in our traditional areas without any formal recognition or remuneration. The machinery of state in this country is very limited. There are very few police stations throughout the rural areas of the country, and we serve as peacemakers. We settle more disputes than the former judicial structures. And we have carried our message of peace even to the United Nations with the Asante delivering a lecture to the United Nations General Assembly on peace and security. So we are agents of peace. We are non-partisan by constitution, so we are not involved in any political strife. So we are very devoted to the whole process of peace. I happen to have been involved in the formulation of the Ghana Constitution nearly 30 years ago, and we have been recognized in Ghana as an oasis of peace and constitutionalism in a very turbulent region. But our reputation can easily be affected by disputes, by conflicts, some of which we saw during the last election. So we are called upon to adhere to the tenets of peace. We joined the United Nations, the National Peace Council, in actually creating the conditions of peace. And we agree that peace is not only the lack of the non-existence of violence or conflict, but it consists in the creation of conditions which are conducive to peace, conditions which involve, employment for everybody, the raising of the standards of living, and so forth and so on. So I'll end my 2 minutes allotted to me by saying that all of us should work conscientiously towards the maintenance of peace. Thank you very much.
So before we give the microphone to my chairman, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors, Cheesy Pizza, Flora Tissues, Bell Alpha, Bell Peppers, and the Boss Baker. We thank them so much for we now invite my chairman to give the
Don't mind. Take off my mask. Okay, can take it off.
So the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest James.
Your Excellency, Mr. Charles Abani, the UN Resident Coordinator, Your Excellency, Mr. Diallo, the UNESCO Resident Representative, eminent members of the National Peace Council Governing Board present this morning. And let me say thank you to all members who are here for your commitment to this work. When you came into office, you thought it was once a quarter board. Now you realize it's a daily work. And nobody anticipated that this is the way it was going to be, but it has become. Eminent members of the Regional Peace Council who are also here, our distinguished traditional rulers, our partner, Galaxy International, thank you for coming. Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. And let me take the opportunity this morning also to recognize my wife who is here with me. It's important to come along with her because she's a colleague of the UN Resident Coordinator and they have not met for so long. So I thought that it would be good to bring her along this morning so that they can fraternize for a while. As indicated by earlier speakers, September 21st each year has been set aside by the United Nations as the International Day of Peace. It is a day devoted to commemorating and strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among peoples and nations of the world. The theme for this year's celebration is Recovering Better for an Equitable and Sustainable World. As the world continues to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, citizens of the world are being inspired to think creatively about how to help everyone recover better, to build resilience and to transform our world into one that is more peaceful, just, equitable, inclusive, sustainable, and healthier. The COVID-19 pandemic is known to hit the underprivileged and marginalized groups the hardest. It has brought a surge in discrimination, hatred, and stigma, which only cost more lives instead of saving them. The virus attacks without regard to ethnicity, political, or social persuasion. Indeed, it has denied lots of people their jobs and livelihood. The world must therefore come together to confront this common enemy of humankind. To recover from the devastating effects of the pandemic, we must make peace with one another, tolerate and coexist to provide the requisite resilience for faster recovery and development. In the 2021 GPI report, as indicated earlier, Ghana was ranked as the second most peaceful country in Africa and the 38th in the world out of 163 countries reviewed. This makes Ghana the most peaceful country in the West Africa sub-region. This is an improvement over the 2020 ranking where Ghana placed 3rd in Africa and 43rd in the world. The result shows that Ghana has been steadily making progress in its quest to ensure sustainable peace. While we celebrate this feat, we cannot go to sleep, as the threat against this feat are not far from Ghana. Political vigilantism and the resultant electoral violence, for example, have been omnipresent in Ghana's elections. To deal with this menace, the National Peace Council dialogued with the NDC and MPP and produced a roadmap and a code of conduct to guide political behavior before, during, and after the last elections. The council thereafter undertook a nationwide advocacy and sensitization of the general public on the anti-vigilantism law and the code of conduct for political parties, and the signing of the Presidential Peace Pact as a means to guaranteeing peace before, during, and after the election. This led to generally peaceful elections. Indeed, we did not record any act of vigilantism during the elections. Regrettably, however, some people died in the post-election violence during the collation of results. This is a dent on our democratic credibility and should not be allowed to fester. At a post-election dialogue in Adan earlier this year, participants, which included the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Majority and Minority Leader of Parliament, Chairmen and General Secretaries of the NPP, NDC, representatives of the CPP and PNC, members of the security services, donor partners, civil society organizations, academia, Electoral Commission, Judiciary, the National Peace Council, among others. We resolved to ensure that these unfortunate events do not happen again in this country. Your Excellencies, another threat to Ghana's peace is what has become known as violent extremism and terrorism. Currently, in the West African sub-region, violent extremism and violent extremists are gaining ground. Burkina Faso, Ghana's northern neighbor, has had to battle violent extremists for some time now. It is important that we in Ghana take steps to consolidate our peace and intentionally close any gaps, such as unemployment, fundamentalism, maladministration, that could allow for the growth of violent extremism in the country. Collectively, it is the duty of every Ghanaian to work towards protecting the peace we are enjoying in this country.